This is Miss Lopez. Okay, so today we're going to focus in our topic figure of speech. Okay, so this will be a quiz again for oxymoron, hyperbole, simile, metaphor, personification, paradox. The explanation will be in Cebuano, but not all the words will be explained in Cebuano. There will be still some English words that I'm going to use. Okay? So, just to give you a further understanding of figure of speech, let's start with the instruction. Choose the correct figure of speech. Ato na sa ding nahimong na-discuss na sa din nato during the previous grading, no? So just to recall, let's start with the first item. The deafening silence of the place almost makes him crazy. The deafening silence of the place almost makes him crazy. Letter A, hyperbole. Letter B, paradox. Letter C, personification. Letter D, oxymoron. What kind of figure of speech is this? Is that hyperbole, paradox, personification, oxymoron? Now, for your answers, you can write that one on the paper or you just remember your answer. No? If you know the meaning or if you know the explanation or your answers like that, that would be good. I'm happy that you really understand our lesson. But if not, just try to listen to this explanation. Okay, what is this? The deafening silence of the place almost makes him crazy. This is an example of oxymoron. Why is that an oxymoron? An oxymoron is a figure of speech that connects two opposing ideas, usually in two-word phrases, to create a contradictory effect. Unsa may iyang contradictory effect? Opposing ideas. Okay, when we say deafening, makabungog. Diba? Kung may gatag deafening, makabungog. Ya, silence, kahilom. Nalay na class, makabungog din na. Ang kahilom, makabungog din na. But that is just a figure of speech. Muna sila gitawag niya, magtupad gali ng duha ka word class nga opposite. Contradictory. Deafening, makabungog. May say kusog. Silence, hilom. Dapat dili unta tamad makanang mabungog, no? Kay silence ba yan? Hilom ba yan? But that's it. It's a figure of speech. So, kani siyang example class is an example of oxymoron. If you got it right, very good. Now, let's proceed to number 2. Hope is a sunshine after the rain. Wow. What a nice saying. Hope is a sunshine after the rain. Ato nila makita. Nakasaway ba mo? Mahumuhuno nga ulan. Makita niyo ang hope? Dili. What ay makitang hope? Diya nga word nga hope? Or unsay symbol ng hope? What ay makita na umuhuno ang ulan? But why is there a sentence like this? Sunshine after the rain, and that is hope. Muna siya gitawag na itong figures of speech class. Mabitaw na gitawag na itong figure of speech, kawa siya ning follow sa sakto nga pattern or sa literal nga meaning sa word. Now, hope is a sunshine after the rain. What example is this? Is that hyperbole? Letter B, metaphor. Letter C, personification. Letter D, simile. Hope is a sunshine after the rain. Now, this sentence class is an example of metaphor. What is a metaphor? A metaphor is a figure of speech that compares two different things without using like or as. Unsa man ang mga words nga gi-compare diha? Ang hope, gi-compare siya sa sunshine after the rain. Duha ka words nga dili parehas. Gi-compare nimo siya nga wala ka nagamit og like or as. Mao na siya gitawag nato og metaphor. Number 3. Edna is as delicate as a flower. Wow. Sayon ra kay ni. Very easy to understand. Edna is as delicate as a flower. Is this A, hyperbole? Letter B, metaphor. Letter C, personification. Letter D, simile. Okay, study pagbalik niyo ang number 3. Edna. Nya as delicate as a flower. Nanatay clue diha. If you remember the clue, then you will get it right. And the answer is the simile. Okay. But what is a simile? A simile is a comparison of two unlike things compared to each other using the terms like or as. So, pwede sa ni class, Edna is like a delicate flower. Pwede na. Pwede sa dang mingon nga, Edna is as delicate as a flower. That is still an example of simile. Okay, so yun na. Sige na, balik-balik ka sa elementary, eh? Okay, next, number 4. A mother's tender care is a bittersweet memory for children separated from their mothers. Kagulan is dughan, no? A mother's tender care is a bittersweet memory for children separated from their mothers. Oy, unsa ka ni? Is this an example of hyperbole? A paradox? A personification? An oxymoron? Balikon sa nato ha. Ang ato nang nakuha din kay ang mention na nato din kay oxymoron. Akong balikon ha. Ang katong oxymoron kay mao to siya ang word nga nagtupad sila nga opposite parehatong deafening silence. Ang deafening makabungog, ang silence kahilom. Now how about this one? This is an example of oxymoron. Asa man ang oxymoron yung dapita, miss? Oxymoron is a figure of speech that connects two opposing ideas, usually in a two-word phrases, to create a contradictory effect. Okay, unsa man ang contradictory effect niya? Ang bitter. When we say bitter, pait, sweet, tamis. Opposite silang duha. Okay? So, ina na siya. Pait nga tamis nga pamati. Na? Bittersweet. That is an example of oxymoron. Next. If I know one thing, it's that I know nothing. Wow. Giunsa good. Again, if I know one thing, it's that I know nothing. Kung sa binisaya pa ni class, may nanita. Kung nakahibaw pa ko sa usa ka butang, mauna nga wa ko kahibaw. Is this an example of what? Hyperbole? Paradox? Personification? Oxymoron? Now, gi-explain na nako ang oxymoron diha. Naboy idea kung saan yung hyperbole and personification and paradox? Let's try it. If I know one thing, is that I know nothing. This is an example of paradox. Unsa man di ining paradox, miss? A paradox is a statement or proposition that may seem contradictory but can be true, or at least make sense. Nga naman, nganong maybe or it can be true man, class, or nga namang it makes sense. Awa ha. Kung naamang kay ko'y nahibawan, nga usa ka butang, mauna nga wa jud ko kahibaw. Sa ato pa class, sure siya sa usa ka butang ngayong nahibawan. Nga wa gyud siya nakahibaw ana. For example, natay topic karon. Natay topic. For example, ang atong topic ani figure of speech. Nya maingon siya nga nakoy nahibawan, miss. Nga usa ka butang bayan ng figure of speech. Ang ako nahibawan, miss, kay wa jud ko'y idea kung unsa ang figure of speech. Mo na siya buot na ko'y pasabot. If I know one thing, is that I know nothing. Mo na siya example sa paradox. Okay? Kung pananglitan naglibog magaling mo sa akong explanation, balikan lang ang video para inyong masabtan. Got it? Okay, next item. Pictures speak 1,000 words. Mabalak nun, magkaitaan isa. Pictures speak 1,000 words. Or just even one picture, class. One picture speaks 1,000 words. How come? Nga naman ang picture na punog ng words diya. How come it speaks 1,000 words? Because that is just a figure of speech. Do not understand that one in a literal way. It's not the meaning. Okay? So this is an example of hyperbole. Letter B, paradox. C, personification. D, oxymoron. Okay? You already have an idea about oxymoron, and that is two phrases which are beside each other, opposite. And paradox is also opposing in ideas, but there might be a chance that it can be true. How about hyperbole and personification? Do you have any idea about this? Okay, what do you think would be the answer? Hyperbole. What is an hyperbole? A hyperbole is an overstatement that exaggerates a particular condition for emphasis. Asa may exaggeration diha, class? Kana may nung kita exaggeration, kana bang sobrahan rapod ba? Nasobra rapod. Asa man diha ang exaggerated words? Kanang 1,000 words. May kitag 1,000 words. Usa ka libo nga mga words. Imagine na, class. Usa ka picture. Usa ka libong words, usa ka libong mga pulong na diha. Makita nyo sa picture? It's an exaggeration. Muna siya gitawag nato hyperbole. Exaggeration. That is to emphasize that a picture can tell us many things. Of course, we cannot see the words, but class, it's a picture. There are images, there are colors, there are shapes, there are different ways that it can tell a certain word. And that is an example of hyperbole. Do we still have another item? Let's try. Okay, number 7. COVID lays its deathly grip on people's lives. Deathly, makamatay. Grip, pagkupot. So, when kitag COVID lays, ang COVID ning kupot sa kinabuhi sa mga tao nga hugot kayong pagkakupot kay makamatay. What kind of figure of speech is this? A hyperbole? A metaphor? A personification? A simile? Okay? Nanatay idea ning hyperbole is an exaggeration. Nanatay idea ning metaphor. This is a comparison without using like or as. Ang simile is also a comparison of two words with the use of like or as. Unsa man ning personification? Usa ka ni siya. Mao ka ni answer. Mao may nalahi. Ato ko nung tanahon. Yes, it's a personification. Kay mauna siya answer. Ano ni personification man na siya, miss? Let's try it. Personification is a figure of speech that gives a human attribute to inanimate objects. Sa ato pa, kung may natag-personification, naghatag na siya og characteristic nga tawhanon sa usa ka butang nga walay kinabuhi. Ay, kung sa may mga butang walay kinabuhi, ballpen. COVID. Makita na niyo, tao ba ng COVID? Nganong daghan nga matay. Another inanimate object, paper. Your sleeper, your bag, your house. Those are inanimate object. No? Way kinabuhi, wa na ginhawa. Pero kung ato nagali ng butangan og mga abilidad sa usa ka tawo, for example, anang nagkupot og hugot sa kinabuhi sa usa ka tawo. Karakteristik man na sa usa ka tawo. Unsa ko'y mahitabo kung panangitan, ikaw kuptan kuno kaslihog ka, hugot kayo, tukon ka. So, nay action, di ba? Nay movement, nay kinabuhi ang nagkupot sa imuha. Nya ang COVID nga di na to makita, ato siyang gi-compare nga mura siya naa siya kamot nga nagtuok sa usak sa tao para mamatay. Muna siya gitawag na to og personification. Atong gihatagan og characteristic sa usak tao. Next. In discipline, you have to be cruel in order to be kind. Allah. Sabot-sabot ani class. Sa disiplina kuno, sa pagdisiplina kuno, kinahanglan kang cruel. Siya binisaya ng cruel. May mong bad ba? Kinahanglan kang mahimong dautan para kind. Para mahimong maayo. I can explain this one. You have to be cruel. You have to be bad in order to be kind to that person. Sometimes, class, I cannot explain every word of this. I beg you for understanding, because I really don't know some of the Cebuano terms for some English words. Okay, pasensyahin ko ninyo guys, hindi ko na ma-explain. Okay, so, inanabi na sa disiplina class. Now, look at this situation. Di ba kung disiplinahon mo sa inyong mama, nakasa mo, gikasabaan mo, kung kasabaan mo, masakitan mo dili. Of course, ang natural reaction is masakitan ta. Nayubang magirikanan, like for example, dili mo magtuon, dili mo mag-answer sa inyong module, unsay mahitabo, gawas nga kasabaan mo, bunalan mo, di ba? Dapatan mo. Nganong gidapatan mo? Tungod kay gusto sila nga magtarong mo sa inyong pag-eskwela kay aron naa mo'y maayong ugma. Ang maayong ugma nga ilang gilantaw para sa inyo ha, mauna ang kindness nila sa inyo ha. Pero tungod kay gidisiplina mo, munang gibunalan mo, gikasab-an mo, gidapatan mo. Pero kanang gidapatan na po gali mo nga kamatyuno na ino ng resulta, i-report na siya ha. Pero kung kuan lang, disiplina lang, Huwag ka nagtinga-tinga diha. That's still discipline. Parihagod na siya, class. Nabi aning Bible ba yung pagdisiplin? Kani disiplina ba? Kana bang spare the rod, spoil the child? Okay? Kung ang bata kuno dili pagabunalan, ang bata mahimudako nga spoil. Okay? So kinsa man ay problema? Kinsa may problema na kung ang anak spoil? Ang ginikanan. Kung ang anak nga spoiled, nahimo na pong ginikanan, unsaon niya pagdisiplina sa iyang anak nga spoiled man siya? Nakuha ninyo ang logic? So inana na siya, class. Dili ka makatudlo kung wala ka nakatuna na. Dili ka makahatag kung wala ka anak. Muna ang mga tao, mga ginikanan nga nagdisiplina sa ilang mga anak, tungod kay nakat-unpod sila anak sa ilang mga ginikanan. Kay nagdako sila nga tarong, mao na sila nga gusto pud sila nga kamo magdako nga tarong. Pero karong panahon naman gud, kasab-an mo, sakaan mo tingog, bisan og normal ron tanang tingog sa inyo ang maestra, masuko nimo. Wa mi naglantaw para sa amuhahing kaugalingon. Ngano magdisiplina man mi, ngano magsakit-sakit na mi sa among dugan, nagdaho mo ka nang magdisiplina mi ninyo di na sakit sa among dugan, sakit sa among dugan ay. Pero nganong giantos man namo ang sakit sa among dugan para lang mo madisiplina mo. Tungod kay naglantaw mi nga maayo ang inyong ugma, damlag. Muna nga kung naay taong mo disiplina ninyo, kung naay taong nga mo correction ninyo kung unsa inyong sayo, dapat inyo nang pasalamatan. Bahala og nasakitan mo karon inana maginaplas. Kanus aman ang kamatuoran dili sakit. Sakit magid ng kamatuoran. Pero kung kamauta mo dawat, hayag ang atong kaugmaon. Pero kung di ta kamao mo dawat, failure ta. Kay ngano, naamay mga wise na nga mga persons kay nakagi na ng kinabuhi o niya, di ta maminaw ana. Sorry, may tabo. Wow. Okay? So that's it. Is this an example of hyperbole, paradox, personification, oxymoron? In discipline, you have to be cruel in order to be kind. Mura nagpareha sa example ka ganina kuan. Sa gato ka ganina ha. Nakalimot ko. Balikan lang yung tanong video. Okay, so this is an example of paradox. Paradox is a statement or proposition that may seem contradictory but can be true or at least make sense. Cruel. Ang iyang opposite kay kind. Nakayumdum na pag-usap ito yung unang example na ni paradox. Katong, if I know one thing, is that I know nothing. Kaya naumdum ako. So that is an example. So you have to be cruel in order to be kind. Cruelty and kindness are opposite. Napabay line? Okay, number 9. He runs faster than an arrow. Sure? Nabay nani? Naitabo na ba ni nga naay kusog budagan nga paspas pa kaysa sa kanang arrow? Gusto kong utanawan ng tawhanan ni kinsan eh. But anyway, this is just an example of A. Hyperbole, B. Paradox, C. Personification, D. Oxymoron. Okay, kay di man ikathuan class, this is an example of hyperbole. Hyperbole is an overstatement that exaggerates a particular condition for emphasis. Faster than an arrow. Can't believe it. Okay, number 10. There are people whose rooms are organized mess. Okay, organized mess. Mayong gaitag organized hapsay. Mayong gaitag mess katag. kwarto nga hapsay ang pagkakatag. Is this an example of what? Hyperbole? B. Paradox. C. Personification. D. Oxymoron. There are people whose rooms are organized mess. This is an example of oxymoron, because an oxymoron is a figure of speech that connects two opposing ideas, usually in two-word phrases, to create a contradictory effect. The contradictory effects here are the organized, hapsay, and mess, gubot. Okay? And thank you! Hope you learned something. Kung wala nyo na subtime class, pwede lang yung baliko ng video. Okay? That's all for today. This is Miss Lopez signing off.